I saw a piece of automotive news that I am really, I think, I won't say surprised. This is something that makes me say, I think I was right all along. Yes, me admitting that I was right all along. That's a shocker, isn't it? Can you believe I said no? But this comes by way of Autocar, a publication out of the UK, and they run this headline, and they say, Mercedes to bring back cabin buttons for current and future models. Mercedes is bringing back buttons to their lineup. And this is going to start with the new GLC and CLA shooting brake EVs. Now, this is interesting because Mercedes has just put what they are calling, by the way, the largest touchscreen ever in a car. And that I find is interesting. They put a lot of this effort into this touchscreen, which they call the MBUX hyperscreen. Is it MBUX? Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know. It's German. But they call it the hyperscreen, and it's a 39.1-inch touchscreen that spans the entire width of the dashboard in the new GLC. Okay, so it's a gigantic touchscreen. Sure, it looks cool. I will admit, it looks impressive. It looks very futuristic. It looks very, very, I don't know, like Star Trek. You know, maybe like Star Trek: The Next Generation. We're not talking original series here, but it's like a giant touchscreen that goes across, right? And I think, yes, it looks cool. Now, do I want to know what that touchscreen is going to cost to replace out of warranty when it fails? No, I don't want to know. I don't want to be anywhere near that thing when that fails. However, they put all this R&D into that, and they're coming around now and saying that in their studies, their research, that they've discovered that consumers were saying they didn't like the giant touchscreens. They wanted real buttons. Gee, we've only been saying that on this show for years at this point. Years and years we have been staunch advocates for physical buttons in cars. And it's not that I'm anti-screen altogether, though. I mean, actually, I kind of am. I do like cars that have a screen for the gauge cluster, and especially if it's configurable, because you're able to have your speedometer here, maybe your tachometer here, but importantly, you can have a map take up that whole gauge cluster screen if you want. And that's great. You're driving around and you just glance down at the gauge cluster to see your map, your directions, all of that. I think that's a really smart use of that space. But having these giant screens, these tablets in the center stack, they ruin the interior lines and design of the car, first and foremost. It's very hard for those not to look like a giant tablet, because that's what they are. And then it also creates a number of issues because it compels manufacturers. Okay, we got this screen in here, and I've talked about the reasons for this and the manufacturing reasons, and why, even though it's an expensive screen to put in, manufacturers are probably adding up all the little costs of the buttons and the switches and the production on it. There's a lot that actually goes into this, right? And they put the screen in there, and then they say, okay, we got to do all the HVAC controls in there too. We got to do all of the vehicle functions in there too. And you're driving around, you're on a bouncy road, bumpy road, you're bouncing around, and your fingers hopping around on the screen. It's a pain, right? And I think people, as a whole, don't like them. Yet people buy them because people want to look like they have the cool tech, that they have the newest, the latest and greatest, even when the latest and greatest isn't really all that good. And it's an interesting pivot for Mercedes to do this. It's a very interesting pivot, and now they're saying that, let's see here. Mercedes said, a spokesman said, quote, "You can see a difference if you move from the CLA, which has the touchscreen and fewer hard buttons, to the new GLC, where we put back the rollers and buttons because we see in the data that the rollers and these physical buttons are very important for certain age groups and certain populations." So they're making it sound all corporate-y. Oh, we've done our research, and this is what we believe is correct. No, that's just them admitting that they're wrong. That's what it is. That's corporate speak for, yeah, sorry guys, we got it wrong. will give you your buttons back. So this is a good pivot. If Mercedes is doing it, I'd like to see other manufacturers do it and adopt it more. When I look at the comments on the YouTube video version of this show, I see a lot of people who don't like the buttons. I mean, looking at some comments right now, Jake RH7YY, he says, quote, "Screens suck. Get a damn map." Oh, man. You can... Yeah, Mercedes, good call here. You shouldn't have done it in the first place, but anyway. Coming up after the break, Joe Ligo, we're talking AMC right here.